So over the years, I've gotten a chance to know Mr. Stout a little bit. My first real interaction with him was I took my kids out. We were campaigning for one of our former county commissioners, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago. And the first house we knocked on the door for, I was trying to show my little girls what it's like to be involved and to be active and go out and advocate for something you care about or somebody you care about. That first knock on the door was a disaster. This guy was screaming and ranting and raving, you know, get off the property, this and that. So I'm thinking, it was in a different neighborhood than Mr. Stout's. I should have started with that. And so I'm thinking, do I just take these kids home? You know, this didn't go as planned. I said, you know what, we'll go try one more. So we drove down to Joseph Street, and we got out of the car and we walked. And the very first house we come to is Mr. Stout's, and he's out in the driveway. Well, my kids got a lesson not only in what it means to be you know, involved and to be knowledgeable about the issues of the day, but they got a lesson in decency that 20 minutes before they had not seen, and that was my first takeaway. Secondly, fast forward a few years, I was running for mayor. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna knock on 150 doors today, right? And I'm probably on door 30, and I'm over in the Old Town neighborhood. And I come up to Mr. Stout's house, and after a couple minutes of talking, I'm giving my spiel. He looks at me and goes, "You want to go fishing?" I didn't say it exactly how he says it, but he asked me if I wanted to go fishing. And I started to say, you know what, I've got a lot to do. And I stopped, and I said, how many people get a chance to get out on Lake Erie with Bob Stout? And so those 4 hours, again, the wisdom bestowed upon me, and he probably, this is just the way the man lives, so he doesn't realize the things that he imparts to, you know, a young person, a young family person, somebody trying to do, you know, good here in the town. So after I saw you at Dairy Mart, I called your brother-in-law down, and I said, can we have lunch? I think I want to do something here for Bob. And so we talked about it, and we talked about a whole host of things, and, you know, the bottom line is, folks, they don't make them like they used to. Your wife may say they broke the mold with you, but this is an opportunity for us to honor somebody here in the community that has quietly gone about his business and been a member of this community that this town should never forget. And so I wanted to memorialize that with a proclamation today. And when I talked to his wife the other day, Janet, she said, you know, he will not be expecting this. And I said, that's exactly why he deserves it. So I've spoken long enough. I'm going to read the proclamation, which I need my glasses. Proclamation from the City of Kirtland. Whereas Bob Stout has been a member of our community for 56 years, and whereas Bob Stout served his country honorably in the United States Army, and whereas Bob Stout's many decades of contributions have been invaluable to both the Old Town neighborhood and the entire city of Kirtland, and whereas Bob Stout's service to his community has significantly and positively impacted the lives of countless Kirtland residents, and whereas Bob Stout proudly served on the Kirtland Volunteer Fire Department for more than a decade, and whereas Bob Stout embodies kindness, honesty, and integrity, and whereas Bob Stout has selflessly served his neighbors and neighborhood by snowplowing neighbors' driveways and church parking lots, replacing roofs at no cost for residents in need, voluntarily splitting firewood for neighbors, fixing vehicles at little or no charge, donating his labor to fix city vehicles, sponsoring youth sports teams, and countless other services and charitable work for his community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of Kirtland recognizes Bob Stout for his outstanding contributions to our community and honors him for his dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to making Kirtland a better place to live.
Okay, well, Mr. Stout, on behalf of council, congratulations and thank you for all your service and support to the community. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, Commissioner Beveridge, you ready?
Sir,
All right.
I did not come to start an argument. And I hope that wasn't. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Stout. I don't know that we've had a chance to meet before, but you sound like a wonderful individual. And congratulations, Kirtland, on having an asset such as that in your city. You're lucky indeed. Wanted to come back today to talk about the Old Town Sewer Project. I was out, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, talking about the fact that we were trying to find some extra funding. And we did. I wasn't going to show up and tell you I'm going to find extra funding and then disappoint. But I do want to just quickly tell the story of how we got here and how we got to where we are. A letter will be going out soon. Am I correct? Within the next couple of weeks? Letter will be going out within the next couple of weeks, giving the final assessment of what the project will be. If you watch the commissioners meeting from last week, Randy Roethlisberger, director of our Department of Utilities, gave the exact numbers and talked about the letters going to be going out. At that point, folks will have about 30 days to pay. And if they're not able to pay or don't want to, they can pay partial or they can roll it into their taxes for 20 years. When the project first started, the estimate for the assessment, just the assessment to the residents, was going to be about $27,000. In reality, had no money been put towards this project, it would have been between $28,000 and $29,000. When the project was announced, the commissioners, before my time, allocated some dollars, about $1 million award, I believe, in ARPA funds that helped bring that price down. City of Kirtland also was able to obtain over $1 million, $1,059,407 to be precise. And at that time, it would have brought the price of the project down to, I believe, around $14,000, $15,000. We were out a month or so ago and talked about the fact that we were looking to get about $1.1 million to put down on that project. I want to thank the City of Kirtland for contributing $100,000 towards that 1.1 million. And I also want to thank Jason and Randy Roethlisberger, Commissioner Plechnik, and Commissioner Regovich. I am new to politics, and for those of you who have been involved in politics, you know that sometimes fiscal plans don't always align with an individual's plan. And I'm happy to say that the county, we had some things working out, but the county is willing to commit the other $1 million to make sure that that funding came in. That will bring the final assessment number down to $4,573.58. And as we talked about at the commissioners meeting last time we were here, those individuals and others that work together understood the difference and the once in a, I don't know, maybe hopefully generational situation that this was, where the Ohio EPA comes in and mandates this, of no fault to many, many, many of the residents over in Old Town, that this was assessed on them. And so the county felt that it was the appropriate thing to do to make sure that we stepped in to the ability we could and bring what we felt the final assessment and the total project cost down to a reasonable amount. So just wanted to come back out and say thank you to those folks and to my partners at the county for stepping up. And even though some other things may not have been done in a timely manner, we wanted to make sure that that $1.1 million was accomplished so that the assessment could be on a more manageable amount. So folks will start seeing the letters in a couple of weeks, and then from there they'll have about 30 days or so to make a payment. So that's my update for you. Any questions?
So thank you so much, Commissioner Brown.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Beveridge, I also want to thank you and your team. I think Mr. Boyd is here. Is he? Is he back there hiding? I want to thank you also. It really means a lot that we've gotten that support and from the residents speaking to try to get that additional support also. So I want to thank you for that. Council have anything else for
One more time,
Beveridge
the
tonight?
final assessment, 4,553.
$4,573.58,
Thank you.
to be precise.
Okay.
And on behalf of Old Town Ward 1, thank you so much. Council President said, I think that means a lot to the residents in that area who I'm sure that was a terrifying number to start with, and it's become a much more possible, manageable number. And, we thank you for everything you guys have done for them.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
Council President, I know you mentioned it, but I do want to laud the residents that really, really went to bat for their community and their neighborhood, because
Yes.
without them, the commissioner's probably not standing here tonight with this kind of good news. So thank you for going to bat for the folks here and out there. Thanks again.
Absolutely. No, the county has to bond it out. So whatever the going interest rate is on the bonds, that was another part of the problem, is when this was first discussed in 2017, 2018, 2019, we were in a much different interest rate environment. By my approximations with the current rates, the interest that would have been added on to an assessment would have been approximately 50% of whatever the assessment would have been. So hypothetically, if it's a $10,000 assessment, they'd have been looking at paying off $15,000. Also, unfortunately, because of the laws, if you bond it out on a 20-year bond, it could not have been prepaid, and it just would have been lumped into, their annual property taxes. So, an original amount of $29,000 would have looked like $45,000 on your taxes over 20 years. You're looking at almost $200 a month. And that's why it was so important that we tried to get this down, because if folks couldn't pay this, they had the option of rolling that into their taxes. But obviously, $4,500 becomes $6,700 spread out over 20 years becomes a much more, manageable number. And once again, had that have happened and people had to put $30,000 of an albatross upon their property, if they couldn't afford the $200 extra monthly payment, what were they going to sell their house for?
Right.
Right? I mean, the property values, I'm not a realtor, but I can't imagine it would have been positive. So, all right.
That's great. Commissioner Beveridge, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks. Take care.
I'd also like to thank Mayor Potter, actually, for getting the ball rolling on this initially. What was that, 3 years ago? Started getting the, talking with Dave Joyce, various agencies, getting $2 million. Thank you for your hard work on that, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to move into the reading and approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2025 work session meeting.
Motion to approve?
Mr. Smolik with a motion to approve, Mrs. Grazi with a second, Ms. Jenica, boy, did I butcher that.
I got it.
Thank you, Janelle.
Muscatella.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia. Yes. Mr. Smolik.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the minutes of the May 21st, 2025 council meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Simons with a motion to approve, Mr. Smolik with a second. Ms. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia. Yes. Mr. Smolik.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the department reports. Chief Hutton?
Thank you, Mr. President. Monthly report was sent out a little bit earlier today. You should all have that. We've had some training over the last couple of weeks. We've got firefighters Pierce and Davidson, two of our newer firefighters, will be going to rope tech rescue class, so they'll become rope techs. Lieutenant Eisenberg finished the hazmat safety officer class, and he'll be added as what we call an HSO in Lake County, which is a hazmat shift officer. So he'll be one of the go-to people on shift, on his shift for advice. So we're kind of proud of Corey for that. We did have 4 students from Kirtland High School, I think one from Menor, that did junior, senior project with us. It was awesome, all great kids at the schools. Wish we would have been a little bit busier on calls, but we got a lot of training in. We had a couple cars there, but as soon as they left, we got busy every day. It's just the way it goes. So, but we were happy we were able to have them come in. Other than that, I'm open for any questions.
Good. Any questions for Chief Hutton this evening? Okay, Chief, thank you. Chief McAllister?
Thank you, Council President Fenstermaker. We have Safety Town going on this week, so as you can see, I believe we got some drone footage of Councilman Smolik trying out the tricycles out there on the course. But the day went great. Had a lot of kids in here. Mrs. Potter and the team that she put together did an excellent job moving the kids around at their stations, and looking forward to the rest of the week. Believe Chief Hutton and I will be cooking tomorrow for the concert, so if everybody wants to come out and enjoy some burnt hot dogs and burgers, we'll be happy to accommodate. And we're also looking at bringing on a new hire to fill that last vacancy that we have in the department, as well as an additional part-timer. So I have a meeting tomorrow where we will have a discussion, and hopefully that position will be filled very soon. But that'll conclude my report, and I'm open for any questions.
What's the event tomorrow? What is it?
The concert?
Yeah, I know that. Business or faith night. For a free opportunity market.
I used to talk louder tonight.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Sue.
No, I can't hear them. Can you hear
Okay.
them?
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear your questionnaire.
Sue said everyone needs to talk louder.
I asked if it was any type of night, like, they have a faith night, they have a business night. You said it's
I
just-
believe this is, we're going to call this City Night number 1.
All right.
And if there's a number 2, we'll let you know. But there are multiple concerts.
Okay, any further questions for Chief McAllister this evening? If not, we will move right over to Mr. Courtney.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. No formal report tonight, just a couple of updates. 2025 street repairs advertised today. Bids will be opened on June 17th, and they will be to your desks shortly after that with a recommendation for award. Kirtland Chardon Road project, we had our scope meeting with ODOT this morning and finalized the schedule, budget, and scope of work on that project. 3 pieces of legislation related to those 2 items on the agenda tonight. We would ask that all 3 of them get passed tonight. The first is for design services on the 25 street repair program. Second one is for design services on the Kirtland Chardon Road project. And the third one is a resolution for local public agency administration of the construction contract for Kirtland Chardon Road. Happy to take any questions.
Do you have any other updates on Wisner Road?
Lewis and I had talked to the county. They are, they have the design fee ready. But Lewis wanted to have legislation, the council, this came late last week, so it's not on tonight's agenda. It'll be on your next meeting. Lewis wanted formal legislation from council accepting that money before it actually gets deposited. So this week I'll be cutting loose SME for their side of the design, and we'll get moving on that. I mean, we have been moving. We've got the survey work done and that kind of thing. It's just, I didn't want to sign off on SME's subcontract until I knew the funds were going to be there, so.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Courtney this evening?
Mr. Courtney, this might be premature, but I had a resident on South Locust call me last night and inquired relative to the 306 sewer design. Would the side streets, is the design going to be such that it would be able to carry flow from any side street, or is that not?
Yeah, the sewer will be sized appropriately to pick up the properties adjacent to 306 all the way from 6 to downtown.
Okay, so South and North Locust.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that those connections will happen with this project,
Understood. Okay.
but the sewer will have capacity to carry that flow. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass that along.
And Doug, for the side streets like Locust and various other ones along there, they would need to get with the majority of people to residents on any street in particular to have them run it down the street to approve upon it then, for their areas?
There's different ways to go about it. It could be an assessment project initiated by the city, or it could be a petitioned assessment where the residents, I can't remember what the percentage is, but a certain percentage of the residents have to request sewers be installed, and that understanding that they would be assessed for the work and that kind of thing.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, any further questions for Mr. Courtney? Okay, Mr. Lallo.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I don't have a formal report for you tonight, but as a reminder, the 25R35 will need a motion to modify that resolution to modify the certificate of copy. I could walk you through that at the time. I did speak with Mr. Fernaro regarding 25R32 and that accepting that grant. He did indicate that it can wait, so that can go at least to second reading. Aside from that, I don't have anything further to offer unless you have questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Lallo this evening? Okay, Mr. Lallo, thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President Fenstermaker. Yeah, Chief mentioned that thanks to Jenny Potter, Mrs. Potter, that being my wife 5 years ago when we brought Safety Town back. She said she was voluntold. I politely asked if she would take over the program, volunteer for it, and she has, and I think she's taken it to another level. And appreciative to the residents, they probably feel like residents, our employees here at City Hall, for enduring 50, 4 and 5 year olds running around here. And thanks to all the counselors, they're mostly middle school students or early high school students that come out and dedicate their time to the program. So thanks to everybody involved and everybody that helps with that program, police, service, fire, and again, to all of those others from outside agencies that come in and help with that. The Public Works Open House, if you missed it a couple Fridays ago, another great event put on by the Public Works Department. Mr. Fernaro and his family go above and beyond welcoming the community, giving the community a chance to come in and see all of the equipment and how things work up there. And they get a ton of good food and community. So thank you. Thanks to Eddie Eckert. Eddie was here at our work session. Eddie did mention that Dave Joyce's office, Congressman Joyce's office, called him last Friday to let him know that they did in fact submit as part of the federal budget process out of the Congressman's office for $3.9 million for a potential sewer expansion. So thanks in advance to Congressman Joyce's office, or thanks to his office for including that. And the hope will be is that we are not working on a continuing resolution via the federal government after the new year, and just as they did a few years back when the Old Town funding $820,000 request was coming due at the end of the year, And they made that happen and passed that budget at the end of the year. So fingers crossed, and hope they do their jobs. Just quickly, it was my honor and privilege, as I mentioned, to do a mayoral proclamation for Mr. Stout, who's left the building, I hope, for his sake, and taking his wife somewhere nice to eat. I know that's a nightly thing that they do. But anyhow, just a wonderful family, great people, and we've got plenty of good people like that in Kirtland, but Mr. Stout has really honestly just had an impact on so many people, young and old, and everybody in between. So congratulations to him, and thanks again. Strawberry Festival, if you have people coming into town for the festival, make sure that they're, especially parade night, that they're going to come in early, get here well before Chiefs. What time would you say to come into town if you can? 5:15, 5:30. The road closes at, what time did you say? Yeah, a little after 6. So, just if you have family members, friends coming into town for that, tell them all the back ways and to get here early. Otherwise, thanks in advance to Kirtland Kiwanis that does such an amazing job at this event for many, many decades now. I think I'll be quiet and let you guys ask any questions if you have them.
Okay, any questions for the mayor this evening?
Mayor, you had sent an email earlier today. Are you anticipating an executive session?
Yes.
After,
Yep,
after
thank
the
you.
council meeting?
At the end of the meeting, let's, if you wouldn't mind, Council President Fenstermaker, asking for an executive session to discuss the
Personnel in the police department.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Schultz.
No problem. One last inquiry. Just checking to see if there's been any update from Mr. Carr relative to the resolution we passed on emergency services and his representation of the city of Kirtland.
To Mr. who? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Was it Mr. David Carr was the gentleman?
Oh, you know what? Councilman Hamer just asked me last week about that. I'm going to follow up with Mayor Fiala. Thanks for the reminder. But yeah, I think we're due an update here.
Thank you.
Mayor, related to the Strawberry Festival, are we following, and this is probably going to end up going to the chief, but are we following the same protocols from last year as far as fencing and all of that we should make everyone aware of?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Simons. I will let Chief McAllister speak to that. But yes, absolutely, we had a good, productive meeting with our folks in the police department and Kirtland Kiwanis last Wednesday, I think it was, kind of going over the plan, so to speak. So, Chief, if you want to speak to that.
Sure. Pretty much the same plan and layout as last year. We're just going to have one point of entry and exit for the event. I've already been getting some feedback from some other police departments that kind of adopted what we did last year, and they've had a lot of success, and they feel like it's helped them stop things from happening at the event. So we plan to be full on with that same plan and hopefully get the same outcome as we did last year.
And I don't remember, so I apologize, but there was some sort of regulation related to under an age being accompanied by an adult. Can we just go over what those are so that we can publish that, make sure people are aware?
Sure. Wednesday, I'm going to put out a press release,
Oh, perfect.
and it'll address everything with all the rules and the ages and everything.
Perfect.
Similar to last year, all Kirtland students, as long as they have their school ID or they can show us their Infinite Campus app on the phone with their picture, they can come in. It's not a problem. I know we'll have some of the faith-based organizations coming up, LDS and some of the other churches. If they can show their affiliation, then they can come in as well. The children that are coming in from outside the school district after 8 o'clock, they'll need to have a parent or guardian with them to come into the event. We'll be checking IDs, using the wand just to check waistbands and things like that. And bags are subject to being checked and searched. So it's recommended just go through your things before you come so you don't accidentally bring something up to the event that you shouldn't have. But I think with that plan, we should have a good result.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Mayor, thank you. Moving on to standing committee reports.
Active, right?
Nothing active? I'm not aware of any correspondence. Okay. Public comments on matters not on the agenda. So if anybody in the audience tonight would like to speak on matters not on the agenda.
Somebody's got to say something right now.
Okay, moving on to old business. Again, this is for public comments on matters of old business. Okay, moving on to 25-R-30, third reading, resolution authorizing the city to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Kirtland Police Department and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for the resolution of a dispute regarding prior full-time service for the purposes of vacation time credit.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Mr. Schultz for the motion to adopt,
That's sewer.
and Mrs. Grazia with the second. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. This is public comments on agenda items of new business. Okay, 25-R-32, a resolution authorizing all actions necessary to accept the Ohio EPA's H2 Ohio Chloride Reduction Grant to the city for the purchase of 5 snow and ice controllers and the materials to install a brine maker for the service department and declaring an emergency. Any discussion?
Second reading, at least?
Again, it can go to second reading. And I did want to kind of just reiterate my conversation with Mr. Fernando prior to this, is that the purpose of this grant is to help reduce salt on the roadways. And what they have at the service department is the brine maker. They want to make sure, I think one of the things they want to do is add materials to make that brine maker better. And one of them is going to be putting an underwater or in-ground water line in there so that they can try to make that process a little more efficient for them as they're on the roads in the winter months. In addition to other things, obviously, but that, I know that's one of the big parts of the project that he was very happy about when he got the grant.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Latlo. Okay, moving on to 25-R-33, resolution authorizing the mayor to retain the services of the C.W. Courtney Company as engineers for the design and construction administration of the 2025 street repair and maintenance project and declaring an emergency.
Motion to waive the 3 readings?
Second?
Mr. Smolik with a motion to waive the 3 readings. Mrs. Grazia with the second. Any discussion? Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, looking for a motion to adopt?
Motion to declare an emergency and to adopt?
Declare an emergency and adopt.
I second?
Okay, Mr. Smolik with the motion, Mrs. Grazia with the second. Any discussion?
Mr. Courtney, the proposal that for SME, that's a fair dialed-in number, I suppose?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Right. You.
Okay, Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to 25-R-34. Resolution authorizing the mayor to retain the services of the C.W. Courtney Company as engineers for the design and construction administration of the LAK Kirtland Chardon Road project and declaring an emergency.
And we need to do this one waived also, Mr.
Yes.
Courtney? Motion to waive the 3 readings?
Second?
Mr. Smolik with a motion to waive the three readings. Mrs. Grazia with a second. Any discussion? Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Abstain.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, looking for a motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
So moved.
Go ahead. Julie,
Mrs. Simons with the motion,
second.
Mr. Smolik with the second. Any discussion? Okay, Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Abstain.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to 25-R-35. A resolution declaring the city of Kirtland shall serve as the responsible lead agency for the administration of the LAK Kirtland Chardon Road project and declaring emergency. We need
A motion to
motion to
modify,
modify certificate of copy
to list Janelle Muscatello
to list Janelle Mascatello
and insert 25R35 in the appropriate line.
and insert 25-R35 in the appropriate line.
Is there a so moved?
So, go ahead.
Mr. Ziegler?
Mr. Ziegler,
Need a second.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, Mr. Ziegler with the motion and Mr. Smolik with the second. Ms. Muscatella, do we need to call a roll on that?
Yes.
Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Abstain.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes. A motion to waive the three readings?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Smolik with a motion to waive the three readings. Mr. Ziegler with a second. Any discussion? Mrs. Muscatella, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Abstain.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to declare emergency and adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Simons with a motion to, and Mrs. Gracia with a second. Any discussion? Okay, Mrs. Muscatello, please call the roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Abstain.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Lawler, do you want to go into executive session now or at the very end?
Yes, so, what you could do is you can do council comments, continuing concerns from the community.
Okay.
And then the suggestion, that would be my suggestion, then you could entertain a motion to go into executive session. We would go into the council chambers or the meeting room for executive session, and then we would come out at some point, and then there's nothing left on the agenda, and we close the meeting.
Okay.
So that the residents don't think that we're going to go into executive session, come out, and then do other business or conduct other business. So if you kind of burn through the agenda, it'll kind of be better for them.
Okay, fair enough. Council comments, any council comments this evening?
Not at this time.
Okay, continuing concerns, last opportunity for the public to speak if you have any concerns. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss personnel in the police department.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
No.
Oh, no, we
This
got-
is actually the
roll
one
call?
motion where you
Have
definitely
to have
need
a roll call? Okay, roll call. Ms. Muscatella, please call a roll.
Ms. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes. At this point, too, all we're going to do is go to executive session, come back in, and then close the meeting. I'll come out of executive session, close the meeting out, so meeting's effectively